What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of Screen Queens. Since I've been making a lot of videos about the Real Housewives and the Real Housewives of Orange County in particular, I thought it'd be cool to do a Screen Queens episode about my favorite Real Housewife of Orange County, Tamra Judge. So I first watched Tamra Judge on the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip Season 2. It became my favorite, season of Real Housewives ever. And I really just fell in love with the cast, and I really liked Tamra Judge. I feel like she added a lot of drama to the season, as well as just made the season overall enjoyable to watch. I didn't know much about Tamra Judge at the time, but it did make me want to get into Orange County a little bit more after seeing her and Vicky on Ultimate Girls Trip. They seemed like such good friends, and it seemed like a cool dynamic to watch if I watched Orange County. Tamra Judge is 57 years old. She was born on September 2nd, 1967. She's a TV personality as well as a businesswoman. Her and her husband Eddie opened a gym called Cut Fitness, and it eventually shut down a few years after COVID because during COVID it took a really big hit. And then she also has another business. Her other business is also owned by her and her husband. It's called Vena CBD, and they sell CBD and THC gummies. So she's also been married 3 times. First, she was married to a guy named Darren Veth from 1985 to 1990. Then Simon Barney from 1998 to 2011. And then Eddie Judge married him in 2013. So Tamra had 1 kid with Darren Veth and then 3 with Simon Barney. Her current husband, Eddie Judge, they don't have any kids together. Tamra joined Real Housewives of Orange County in 2008 on its 3rd season. She was on it from season 3 to season 14 and then left after season 14 and just rejoined for season 17. So she took about like a 3-year hiatus. She's currently still on Real Housewives of Orange County. They're filming season 19 and she is still a part of the cast. She also has a podcast called 2 Teas in a Pod that she does with Teddy Mellencamp, who was a Real Housewife on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. They became really good friends. I'm not sure how they met or who they met through. I know they have a few mutual friends like Kyle Richards and Erica Jane, but yeah, so they currently do that podcast. I believe Tamra's doing it with someone else right now just because Teddy is going through a cancer battle. She did have her own spin-off show. A lot of the housewives have their own spin-off shows, and her spin-off show was called Tamra's OC Wedding, and this was a reality show. It was 1 season just following the process of getting married to Eddie Judge. That is on Peacock if you're interested in watching that. I actually have not seen that. It was made in 2013. I just haven't really seen anything about it because it's so old. But I think it's cool that it was just kind of like a mini series following how they're preparing for their wedding after Tamra was married twice prior. And I think it was pretty cool how their wedding was like filmed on television, so now like they have that memory forever. Overall, I feel like Tamra's friend group has definitely shifted over the years. Obviously, when you're a part of the Real Housewives franchise, you have people that you're close with, and then you might get into fights with them, and then that whole dynamic is ruined. She was a part of the Tres Amigas, and that was Tamra Judge, Vicky Gunvalson, and Shannon Storms Bedore, and that started because they started calling themselves the Tres Amigas when they went to Mexico, and that's kind of how that formed. They were just like a really good friend group. So that kind of nickname for the friend group became huge on social media, and they ended up doing tours and doing shows as a group, and they made merch, and it kind of became like a huge thing just from that trip to Mexico. So yeah, they used to do tours and shows, although Tamra had a falling out with Shannon and Vicky, so Shannon and Vicky tried to do the Tres Amigas by themselves, but it obviously didn't work as well, and not as many people were interested because the whole group wasn't together. On the show currently, after watching season 18, I feel like it's kind of a hit or miss when it comes to talking about who Tamra is close with, because after the season 18 reunion, it was kind of made obvious that a lot of people weren't really happy with her behavior, how she treated Jen, and then she also quit while she was filming season 19, but we learned that she kind of just got into a fight and got overwhelmed, but she's still on the show, according to her contract. So yeah, she's not really getting along with anyone on Orange County at the moment, but I do really like her relationship with Teddy Mellencamp. She's been there for her during her cancer battle, and they always seem so happy with each other when they hang out. So overall, I'm really happy that she has that great friend. I felt like talking about Tamra Judge for a Screen Queens episode was a great idea because Tamra Judge is one of those housewives like Brandi Glanville where she's literally a queen on screen. She brings the drama every season. With being hated, she also brings really good content to reality TV, and a lot of people say that, you know, she might not be the best person, it might not have the best personality, but she knows how to do reality TV well. She's very experienced. She's been doing this since 2008, and she always brings the drama, the storylines. She always knows how to stir the pot in the best way, and I really do feel like she is a great addition to the series because she's literally a queen of reality television. She also is one of the reasons why Real Housewives of Orange County is doing better in terms of like popularity and viewership. A lot of people stopped watching after season 14 when she left, and the storylines just kind of got boring. They brought on people that didn't really fit in the dynamic of the Real Housewives, and they just wanted to like fill the spots after Vicky and Tamra left. So yeah, she's done really good things for the Real Housewives fan base and brought a lot more views to Bravo as a whole. I just really hope she doesn't push her luck. You can tell during the most recent reunions that Andy Cohen is getting kind of pissed off with her and is kind of done with her head games and the way she treats people. So I really hope that she doesn't push her luck and that she doesn't get let go again. So I think she kind of is walking on thin ice right now, but I think she will be good for another few seasons. That's if she stays. After that fight that happened, I feel like we don't know what happened, but she posted all over social media that she was, you know, done with everything and, you know, she can't take the drama. So, you know, if she decides to stay, I think it would be really good for reality TV. But if she can't handle it, she'll probably leave. So I'm going to be telling you guys a few fun facts about Tamra Judge that you guys probably don't know. She was born in Glendale, California. She's super short. She is 5'3". She was engaged to Eddie Judge for 15 months before they actually got married. She came out in an article with Us Weekly talking about how one of her biggest regrets is not going to college. She rides motorcycles. Her and Eddie are super involved in that type of community. She loves riding motorcycles. And her and Eddie have a house in Big Bear, California. It was featured on season 18 of The Real Housewives of Orange County, and it was actually kind of cool to see their house and how they live in Orange County, which is like picture perfect. It's like perfect weather all the time. There's beaches on every corner. And then Big Bear, California, it snows, and it's just a very different dynamic. So that was super interesting to see her two different lifestyles on screen. So that's all that I have for this episode of Screen Queens. If you guys are looking for someone to watch that really brings the drama to reality TV, definitely check out anything that Tamra Judge has been a part of. Her podcast is super interesting, and I really like watching her on The Real Housewives of Orange County. And if you're interested in learning more about her and Eddie's relationship, you can watch her show on Peacock, Tamra's OC Wedding. And I'll see you guys for another episode of Screen Queens. Bye, guys.